second. Let me just wait for this plane to pass. I don't want
fair.
to mute and unmute.
That's fair. Here's a live look in 4th and Trollers. Wes lives in LA, right next to an
15
airport.
minutes from Burbank.
And we always have a fun time. And welcome back to 4th and Troll Fantasy, the most entertaining fantasy football podcast on the planet. My name is Noah Selby.
Oh, you decided to go, Okay,
yeah,
I'm
we're
Wes
just
Selby.
Yeah, I'm just saying, here we go. Break the fourth wall.
There it
and
is.
We're back.
Planes.
Back with another episode of 4th and Troll Fantasy. We're ready for you. We're having a great day. It was a great weekend of fantasy football for most. Just a little West from the jump.
Dude, I wasn't even gonna bring it up. I moved on.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
But no, it's everyone had a pretty good week just all around. I'm sure you did as well.
Right.
If you listening, all the trollers, everyone had a nice week. I lost by half a point. And this was the second week in a row in my league I lost by half a point. So I'm now 2-6 because of it. So anyway, at the same time I won by half a point in a dynasty league. So the margin of error is very small here to win. Here is another plane coming to bomb my apartment. So might as well with how this season's going. So I don't know if you can hear it.
We got a great show for you guys. Fluke for real, Waiver Wire, Victory Lap, and a Thursday Night Football preview. Stick around. We got some injuries to cover that are going to be key for that Thursday night game. So you're going to want to stick around for that. Follow us on all of our socials. They're all linked down below. And if you want to win a signed James Cook jersey, head over to our Patreon. Any patron is eligible to enter into our giveaway of a signed, autographed, signatured, Beckett certified James Cook jersey that we are giving away at the end of the season.
RB1 on the week.
RB1 on the week. Certified baller. And we always have fun over there on the Discord. So make sure you're we're breaking all the fourth walls right now. This guy in this 32-man redraft league is such a whiner, bro. It's insane.
So annoying.
He doesn't stop. He's like, wow, I actually won a week. Dude, I wish your father hugged you more because this is insane. Like, this is just ridiculous, bro.
He's a winning record.
Anyway.
Fantasy,
we love fantasy football, guys. Yeah, it's such a blast. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and then we get some news to talk about. Wes.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, you want to plug your social media? You've been posting some cool just football edits past couple of weeks.
Oh, dude, sure. If you guys want to, for those who don't know, outside of this world, I'm a videographer. I film, edit things, and been doing some more sports editing lately. And so at nselb on Instagram, or I don't even know what my TikTok is, but I post it there too. Who knows? Maybe we'll drop it in the description. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Shameless plug. Anyways, but the Jaden Daniels edit, I went ahead and after the Hail Mary, that was just insane. I went ahead and did an edit on that, and it got a little bit of love on YouTube and across TikTok and Instagram, and so it's cool.
Before you had a Demario Douglas hype video that
just in time for his flu game that he didn't play.
But his mom, Demario Douglas's mom,
his mom did post it, so it was pretty cool too. Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Anyway,
here we go. Some news. Yeah. Important pieces of news. First things first, bye week, Steelers, 49ers. Keep that in mind. Okay. If you watched last night's monster performance from Tyrone Tracy Jr., you saw at the very end, he had his head bang on the back of the field, or back of his head. Concussion protocol. Concussion protocol. Something to monitor after an amazing game, and we will be talking about him later, very shortly, actually. In this episode, Drake May was also ruled out with a concussion from their victory against the Jets. He's been great and so be on the lookout for him as well. Jordan Love has a groin sprain. Test confirmed that's not as serious as it may have appeared, but he is questionable for this week. He's going to be practicing. Of course, Malik Willis will get the start or take over if Jordan Love is not going to be ready and available. Stephon Diggs. Right now, we don't have the full answer for what's going on with Diggs, but he did suffer a non-contact knee injury. And as of now, there is no word on the severity, but they do play on Thursday this week. It's likely Diggs won't play. Just our speculation, just going to be very transparent. That's what we expect. And so we will be talking about our Thursday night must starts, risky starts, and don't starts with the expectation that Stephon Diggs does not play. So that is going to be factored in as well. Brian Thomas Jr. has a chest injury. He's either day to day or he's week to week, based on who you ask, whether it's Doug Peterson or Doctor. That's just take that with a grain of salt. What is confirmed is Christian Kirk is done for the year with a broken collarbone. That is really tough. We will be talking about some Jaguars receivers in our waiver wire at a moment here. Deontay Johnson, keep this in mind. Track this with us. He's expected to be traded by the end of this week. Deontay Johnson, the Carolina Panthers are going to trade him very, very likely. Okay, Derek Carr returning to practice this week. He's in line to play this Sunday. Back to the Panthers, actually. Dave Canales, he is going to decide whether Bryce Young or Andy Dalton will get the start based on Dalton's thumb sprain. Very fun. I love the Panthers. What a fun team to watch. They are very exciting. Okay, this is just the report. But Christian McCaffrey is running simulated practices during their 49ers bye week, and he is aiming to return after the bye week. We will see just how likely that is. One last piece of news here. Anthony Richardson is still tired. That's it. That's it for the news.
I saw it earlier when you were going through the Brian Thomas report, and I just laughed. Yeah, still
That's
tired.
Awesome.
God, I've never seen anything like it.
It's a starting quarterback.
That was insane. A starting quarterback in the NFL was like, "Hey, dude, can I get a sec here? I'm wiped."
That's awesome.
Like what? Like the
mobile quarterback too.
I'm so glad they didn't win that game. Because if they had somehow snuck away with another win, it would be nearly impossible for them to consider benching Richardson. The word from Steichen is that they're considering things.
So
give
Josh
him a
Downs,
Jordan Love route, dude. Just put him on the bench. Let him learn from Flacco how to throw a football consistently, and then let him go, dude. Man. Anyway,
he's horrible.
Time for Victory Lap Tuesday because it was an awesome week. It was a great week. And as for Fourth and Troll, got a handful of things right here. This isn't bragging. This isn't being cocky. We're just saying, hey, listen, we might know our stuff. And Wes, you got to run away with this one, man, because this is, we're not going to mention this guy heavily in the waiver wire segment because we already did. We were a week ahead on this, and we need to make sure that people know about it.
Yes, and I said with confidence for my stud of the week was Cedric Tillman. I stood there with my chest out and said, roll him out. I believe it. I gave 3 reasons. 1, he had an incredible offseason. 2, Jameis Winston was throwing deep balls to Tillman all offseason. Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper were trying to build chemistry. That was what the whole Browns training camp was about. And then number 3, new play caller, Ken Dorsey, former Buffalo Bills play caller, and Tillman was wide receiver 3 on the week with a nearly 30-point performance. And I've got to say, this is one of the proudest takes I've ever said into a microphone on this show. I've had some pretty nice calls. You've had some really nice calls, but I also want to share this victory lap with you because you help run our social media, and everyone asked on TikTok, Tillman or this guy? Tillman or this guy? And you backed me up, Noah, and you said Tillman.
Yeah, dude.
And people said, huh, really? And we hope you listened. We know the people on our Discord server listened. We know someone in particular 8-0 because they started Cedric Tillman. They're cruising through fantasy, unlike me. So very happy if you rolled them out. Excited. And another victory lap because some people were saying, hey, should I start Jalen McMillan or Cedric Tillman? We said here on Fourth and Troll, the duds for week 8 were all Buccaneers wide receivers because this is going to be the Cade Otton show with featuring Rachaad White. That's just going to be how this is going to operate. And sure enough, it also included a little bit of Bucky Irving, but that is the Buccaneers offense. Maybe you're going to have a touchdown from McMillan or Sterling Shepard or Trey Palmer. Maybe it's going to happen, and maybe they may get some goose eggs. They may just alternate, but this seems to be the way this is rolling for Tampa Bay. So happy to be celebrating these victory laps with all of you. We hope you listened, and if you didn't, stick around for us next week because Noah got some great ones right from the last episode as well.
Hell yeah. I mean, listen, it was a fun one. I talked about David Njoku being an absolute game wrecker for your teams. I mean, it's hard to look at this week on the week of National Tight End Day and be like, well, he had 17 points. Oh, well, what about all the other guys who had more points? But 17 points from the tight end spot would have been like the tight end won each of the first 7 weeks of the season pretty much. So there you go. It's exciting stuff there. And he's going to continue to be a good target for Jameis. So it's going to be exciting stuff. My dud at running back was Chuba Hubbard, 9 fantasy points. I mean, it's tough with Bryce Young for Chuba Hubbard, and it's not exciting. It's not something that makes you happy, makes you excited. And if Jonathan Brooks, well, this will be a telling time this week because this is the last possible week for them to activate Jonathan Brooks. Now, I don't believe that they will just not play him this season, but if he does not get activated for game flow, for game time, it's going to be Chuba Hubbard as the top running back for the rest of the year. So it's pay attention this week to that. But Chuba Hubbard was definitely a dud this week and potentially lost you your week. And then another little one here is Keon Coleman. Last week we mentioned, hey, is this potentially – we need to keep our eye on this because Amari Cooper being in Buffalo may open things up actually for Keon Coleman. I had mentioned, back at draft time, it feels more of a Gabe Davis replacement than actually a Stephon Diggs replacement. So if he's the 2, this feels like it can be a really good thing. And he was awesome this week. He had made some great plays, got in the end zone, the knock we had on him was he's kind of just like a touchdown kind of guy, and he hit him in a fade or something like that, but he's got that big body, and he to a T did that and more
He's doing that
this week. So that was good stuff for him. Last one here, not even in our document. I just want to point out here just how thrilled I was to see Devon Achane doing what we knew he would do again. I know we're 8 weeks into the season.
Yeah.
But you've only had 3 weeks of him in a Tua-led offense, and he's been the RB3, the RB2, and the RB2. Yes. It's phenomenal. Okay. And so it's great to have Tua back for that reason. Call. Not so great to have Tua back, for not winning football games, but it is what it is. Listen, that's it for Victory Lap. Let's jump into a waiver wire here. Some guys to talk about, and it's almost a lighter week, I would almost say, on the waiver wire, because it's hard to look at who popped off that's available, and it was like no one, because everyone that was supposed to pop off did. So there you go. There's that. Yeah. But we got some fun names here. 4 guys. Wes, you have 2 guys. I got 2. Go for it.
So with the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers that we mentioned at the top of the show, Christian Kirk done for the year.
Them, by the way, that was all of them. All of them are hurt. In case you missed that part, the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers we mentioned is asterisks at the bottom of your page.
Everyone.
All of them. Yeah.
Everyone. All right. Yeah. So there's that. And then Brian Thomas Jr., day to day, week to week. We have no idea what any of those words mean from Doug Peterson. But the waiver wire ad for me out of Jacksonville is Parker Washington. Okay. And Gabe Davis, sure, he's had some nice games with Buffalo over the years. Of course, that great 13-second divisional round. He had 4 touchdowns with Josh Allen. So, yeah, there's some deep threat potential. But truly, it's going to be Parker Washington. Why? Because just like I read from Cedric Tillman, out of the Browns camp, and why I said he was the waiver wire last week. That's exactly what I'm reading from Parker Washington from the Jaguars camp this offseason. And sure, Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram were having fantastic off seasons, and Kirk hasn't really had a great season before this injury. But if you're going to get a guy and you need someone that's going to potentially step up as a wide receiver too, Parker Washington is a great option. Keep him on your bench, see what happens, and let's just see if maybe he can end up being a flex option. And on that same notion, keep an eye out for the potential number one wide receiver in Carolina. That's going to be Xavier Legette. He's my next waiver wire ad. Adam Thielen could be someone you go target as well, coming off his hamstring injury, maybe this week, maybe the week after that. But Legette has proven that he can score touchdowns from both Andy Dalton and Bryce Young, and that is huge, okay? Thielen has looked great in the couple of games that we did see him this season. Thielen was like top 10 for the first half of last year. So I'm going to go with Legette. I'm going to go with the guy that Dave Canales drafted, intentionally moved up in the first round to get, with the expectation that Deontay Johnson is traded. So there are my two waiver wire ads going into week 9.
Yeah, I like them both. I'm for what it's worth, I'm hearing a little bit of rumors that Thielen might get shipped out too. They might see what they can get for him, just for that old man with an insane contract.
Oh my
his
gosh!
age.
Well, I hope I've got Mingo in a dynasty league, and I like Mingo. So
we gotta hope Mingo comes back to life. Is
what
we're hoping for here. I got two guys here for you. Two rookies. We're big on the rookies here, even though Parker Washington's the second year, but two rookies to talk about. It's the first one is maybe pretty obvious here, and it's Tyrone Tracy Jr. But he's only 64% rostered across sleeper leagues, which is far too low. He's fully taken over that backfield, and now I understand it's a short week. He's probably going to miss with a concussion. I don't know if you've taken a look at the running backs on your waiver wire lately. They're dog shit. There's no one. There's no, because everyone wants a running back. So if Tyrone Tracy Jr. is out there and available in your leagues, you need it. I would spend up on a bit of fab here. He's taken over the backfield, 57% snap share, and that was even with him missing their last two drives. Singletary took like 10 or 12 snaps at the end of the game that probably would have been Tyrone Tracy Jr.'s. So, but he's had 20 plus opportunities in 3 of his last 4 games. He's got great PPR upside. He's an RB7 in week 8, thanks to that awesome 45-yard touchdown run. Yeah. He's a great option out there, and it's hard to find running backs. And it's the second half of the year, and usually that's when we see rookies start to blossom a little bit more. So definitely keep him in mind. Along with this next guy, if you need a quarterback, Bo Nix. Dude, he's legit. Like he had a slow start, understandable as a rookie quarterback, but he's had over 24 fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's the QB2 in week 8. He's awesome. He looked great. He's finding his stride here with these wide receivers. His first 3 passing touchdown game in the NFL, 4 total touchdowns, which leads me to talk about his rushing ability. He's on pace for 550 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. That's more than Kyler Murray's second and third best seasons of rushing production. And we think about Kyler as this rushing threat. That's more yards and touchdowns than not his best. Kyler had like an 11 rushing touchdown season, like 700 rushing yards, something like that. But his second and third best seasons for rushing production, which is what we value in fantasy football and what makes Kyler a good option, Bo Nix is on pace to beat both of those. This guy is legit. He gets the Baltimore Ravens this upcoming week. If you're in need of a quarterback, I know of a guy who just came off of his first start this season for the Browns, throwing to some young receivers and balled out. A-W, if you know what I'm saying. So Bo Nix, I think, is a great option, and he's got a bit of a tougher schedule going forward after that, but if he keeps on proving himself and he has his rushing upside, he may be worth a play in the future as well. But definitely a good spot start for week 9 if you're in need. There you go. Waiver wire. enjoy.
Move on to the next segment.
That might have been my best attempt ever.
That probably was.
That probably was
because
I didn't do the setup of it ever. So there you go. Listen, let's jump into Fluke for real. It's a glorious thing to look at this list and look at all the good players outweighing a lot of the bad. The bad was rough, but there wasn't much of it this week in week 8. It was a great, great week for fantasy football players. Starting out here with a guy who emerged some high hopes from me. I thought he was a bit undervalued this season. It's Calvin Ridley, 22.6 fantasy points, 10 catches on 15 targets for 143 receiving yards. We've been hearing Brian Callahan saying, we got to work on getting in the ball more, man. We got to figure it out. We got to do stuff. And they did. Unfortunately, that was with Mason Rudolph, and we don't know if Will Levis is going to return as the starting quarterback. So I picked up Calvin Ridley. A guy in our league dropped him. I picked him up because I recognized going forward that he has actually the 3rd easiest schedule rest of season for wide receivers. So if Will Levis can be good, and if the departure of DeAndre Hopkins is going to weigh more heavily here than we may have thought, this could be for real. He could be a decent flex play, but I'm in the camp of wanting to see it again. Where are you, Wes?
I am in agreement as well. For one more reason, I agree completely with all of that. I also just want to say that this was basically a first quarter performance.
Yeah.
And so you read his stat line one more time. Can you just read it off?
Yeah, he had 10 catches on 15 targets for 143 yards. Didn't he have like 120 yards in like the first quarter?
6 catches, 118 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah.
After that, 4 catches, 25 yards. So that also, I believe, is the game script to say, okay, this guy's been whining, just throw the football his way every play. And then they did, and they're like, okay, now we can try to win. Oh, we're not going to win at all.
Oh, we're not going to win anyway.
Destroyed. So there are those are my 2 reasons. It's Mason Rudolph, and that was all just early game script.
Yeah.
I need to see it again. I have to call Fluke for all intents purposes, but there's definitely potential.
Yeah, definitely. Raheem Mostert, 16 fantasy points.
I remember you from last year.
That's all I want to say, really, because the rest of the stat line is just embarrassing, dude. 9 carries for 19 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just, if he's going to be the goal line guy, then maybe, but like 9 for 19, he doesn't look like the same player he was last year. He doesn't. He lost a bit of a step, and he's rosterable. Don't drop him, but like, because like if A-Chain gets hurt, like he'll be obviously more valuable. Please don't let that happen. But
no, if it takes 2 touchdowns to get 16 points, that's not a good day.
It's like the opposite of what we get excited about for fantasy football. It's like, yeah, he was a running back and he didn't even score a touchdown. He scored 18 points. It's great.
Right.
For Mostert, it's like, he scored 2 touchdowns. Oh, not incredibly. It was have a 35-point game. 16. But let's move on.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Terrible.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But Bo Nix, I just mentioned 29.7 fantasy points. He was awesome. 4 touchdowns total in the game. He looks great. Kudos to you, Wes. You were really excited about this guy coming in the draft. We liked the landing spot. Actually, we thought it was going to be. We thought it was pretty interesting, and that if he linked up with Sean Payton and they figured stuff out, they could be okay. And he's looking pretty good. So 24 plus in 3 of his last 4. This looks for real. So there you go. Jalen Coker, rookie wide receiver in Carolina, 17.8 fantasy points, 4 catches on 6 targets for 78 yards and a touchdown. And that's from a Bryce Young passing offense. Now, I do know Leggett found the end zone as well. So that was positive for him. But I didn't really see all this. I know Coker's touchdown came like towards the very end of the game, and I think it was like a 20-yard touchdown. So I can't say that I think this is like for real, but if Deontay gets shipped out and if Adam Thielen also gets shipped out and there's like an opportunity that opens up, do you want Bryce Young's wide receiver 3? No, you don't. I don't think so. I don't know. Watch, this is gonna be like my famous last words, and this is gonna like end up on being.
Yeah.
If someone's gonna find this take, and it'll be played at Jalen Coker's Hall of Fame induction, and it'll just be that
Speak
moment.
that into existence.
Yeah, but anyway,
this is
I'm
a
gonna call
fluke.
Fluke. Yeah, I'm gonna say Fluke. Yeah. So, Travis Kelce, 25 fantasy points on National Tight End Day.
Naturally,
good for him. 10 catches, 12 targets. You love to see that. 90 yards and a touchdown. It's weird that he's even in this segment because it's like it's Kelce, right? but like Fluke. I mean, like it's just like I don't think he's gonna keep going for 25 points.
I don't know. Mark Andrews has just found the end zone a bunch of times, and that's been the only reason Mark Andrews has kind of been like resurrected this season. And, and this is really great to see 12 targets. That's awesome. Right. But, at the same time, the Raiders have been kind of a thorn in the Chiefs' side. So there's just maybe more reason to just kind of go back to their roots. Who knows? Maybe they're going back to where they are.
Dude. Yeah, for this to have been a game where Kelce needed for this to have been a game where Kelce needed, bless you,
excuse me,
where Kelce needed 12 targets is kind of absurd. Like for this to have been a game where that needed to happen, but
sure,
sell high if you can. I mean, I'd rather like still like in a week to week basis, I'd rather have like a safer floor at tight end because the ceiling is so hard to find. So, anyway, so probably so high on Kelce there. Next guy here, Isaac Guerendo, rookie running back for the San Francisco 49ers, 19.2 fantasy points. Freaking ruined my stud call because
I know
Mason could stay on the field. It was so brutal to watch too because it was like, dude, he's feasting, and it's like what could have been, and it's so annoying when Mason is like. Gets evaluated and is back out there on the field with his helmet on and is like standing on the sideline right there. And Shanahan's just like, okay, it's fine.
It's just the Cowboys.
Listen, for a 49ers running back, this is for real. However, you notice we didn't mention. I just caught myself staring right above my camera. So if this shot
was wondering
weird,
where, I didn't know where you were looking.
There's a little spot on the wall there. I was just looking at. I don't know. That was strange.
That's funny.
For 49ers running back, this is for real. However, you'll notice we didn't talk about Guerendo in the waiver wire. You'll also notice we're hearing Christian McCaffrey maybe ramping back up after the bye week and be ready to play. And because they have the bye week, we suspect that even if McCaffrey isn't ready, that Mason will be back and good to go. So fine.
Yeah.
Like it was good for him. Good to see it. For real for a 49ers running back, but fluke for Guerendo. I don't think he's going to get the opportunity anymore. So
agreed.
Jacoby Myers, 17.2 fantasy points, 6 catches, 7 targets, 52, and a touchdown. Unfortunately, because I do like Jacoby Myers, I'm going to say this is fluke.
I agree. He's had some really nice games with the Raiders these last 2 seasons, and there was a point where you and I were wondering if he was actually the wide receiver 1 over Devontae Adams last season. But this has been such a poor offense all around that no Raider should be anyone's lineup except Brock Bowers, and you should never take Brock Bowers out of your lineup. So I'm in agreement that this is just nice game for Myers, but fluke.
Yeah, you look at. We recall after week 1 being dumbfounded and very confused about what happened with Mark Andrews. And the Chiefs are pretty good at defending the tight end, unless it's Isaiah Likely. So, I mean, it's at least in that game, in that instance. But when you see that there's a tight end who could be the focal point of an offense, Steve Spagnuolo does pretty good at shutting that down. So it's just, I think he's a benefactor of a little bit of a quieter Bowers day, which is so rude on his holiday.
I know.
What a dick.
Disrespectful.
Steve Spagnuolo.
What a dick.
What a dick. Anyways, Cortland Sutton, speaking of, I don't know why I just shot him astray. Anyway, 17 fantasy points, 8 catches, 11 targets, 100 yards. He disappeared like 2 weeks ago. He didn't have a single target. But Bo Nix is heating up. 11 targets for his top wide receiver is a pretty good look. So let's see it again, I think, is where I'm at.
I'm starting to see Bo Nix as a Jordan Love type fantasy quarterback where he's going to find the end zone 2-3 times and you just don't really know which guy he's going to go to.
Yeah.
Because that's so sure Sutton is worth rostering and if he does kind of solidify as a primary target, that's great. But our next guy here on the last person on our good side is my same opinion of this player.
Yeah, it's Adam Troutman, 18.5 fantasy points, scored on a sick one-handed catch on National Tight End Day.
Pretty cool.
For what it's worth, it's pretty sweet.
I know, his head had balled out.
Yeah, but I read somewhere that he was on pace before this game for like 70 receiving yards on the season. So,
wow.
He just celebrated the holiday well, I think is what happened. Because
good for him.
Yeah, this again, it's just kind of fluke, And I think is it Lucas Kroll is actually the starting
Lucas
tight
Kroll
end.
has
Sean Payton hates Greg Dulcich apparently, so he had the one game.
Yeah. So that's the other reason that Troutman is a fluke because Kroll is more. Anyway, just I don't really trust any Broncos pass coaches right now, but I trust Bo Nix. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, listen, those are all the good players to talk about. Let's talk about some of the bad guys. There's always some bad guys. Just to talk about them, mention them here. A couple of Dolphins wide receivers here. Tyreek Hill came out and said, "We're back. Start me." Well, we all did. And we weren't like pissed off because like it's your best week in like 6 weeks. So it's like cool. 13.2 fantasy points. But you ideally you see him get in the end zone at some point. Fluke. I mean, we've seen Tyreek with Tua. This is how this goes. Like sometimes maybe there's a little bit of rust. Maybe the game plan was a little different. I'm not sure, but I'm not worried about Tyreek. Are you worried about Tyreek?
I'm not worried. I think you just bite the bullet and you took him top 3. Overall, maybe 4th overall. He's like a very early first round pick. So you have no choice but to roll him out. And there are opportunities to buy low as well. If someone's like, oh man, first game of Tua back and this is what I got. This sucks. Let me get out while I can. And if I have the opportunity to make Tyreek Hill my wide receiver 2 on my team, I'm going to take that. That'll be great. But yeah, it's like, it's almost funny because like there's no choice. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Fluke or for real. You have to line up Tyreek Hill. So
Tyreek's in the lineup, yeah.
It's fine. You keep him, try to trade for him. But there's the other wide receiver that I'm worried about.
I'm not worried, actually. In fact, I traded for Jalen Waddle today.
That's right, you did.
I sent out an offer, felt some things out, and I traded away Tank Dell, my guy, my sweet prince, even potentially about to step into a bigger role. But Nico Collins is going to come back, and Joe Mixon is the engine of that offense. So, in my opinion, I traded Tank Dell for Jalen Waddle. I did. I saw an opportunity. I think we've seen 2 games of Jalen Waddle and Tua together, and in week 1, Jalen Waddle scored I believe. Let me get the exact line here, but we've seen 2 games. In week 1, it was 16.2 fantasy points, 5 targets, 5 catches for 109 yards, and this week it was 8.5 fantasy points, and he saw 6 targets, but only had 4 catches for 45 yards. And he had two plays where he had some pretty unfortunate drops, and he would have had a better day than that. So he's still on the field a bunch. He's been healthy, which has not been his bread and butter over his last few seasons. I saw an opportunity. I'm not panicking on Jalen Waddle just yet. In fact, I am buying Jalen Waddle. So I'm gonna say Fluke because we've seen 2 games, and I know he's talented, and I know he's a great player, and I think he'll be okay.
It's like I need the reverse. When we have a good player and it's like, okay, do it again, and then I'll believe you. It's like, if you do this again, Jalen, I'm really concerned because here's what he's got coming up in his schedule. He's got the Buffalo Bills and then the Rams and then the Raiders, and they are not very good with letting wide receivers get points. And then it's the Patriots, and then it's the Packers and the Jets. So if you can make it to week 15 where it's Texans, 49ers, and Browns to finish out in playoffs, okay, I don't know who's making playoffs with Jalen Waddle unless you trade for him like you did. So I've got some concerns. I do have some concerns. I got concerns with the Dolphins offense outside of Devon Achane. That's kind of where I'm at.
I think the concerns are fair. It wasn't like an easy smash accept, I'll be honest, because when you consider all things, one, my love for Tank Dell. Two, Diggs potentially not coming back this season. Dell might be able to step into this role, but you look at Joe Mixon and what he is the engine of this offense. I saw an opportunity, and when I was comparing the two, it was like, okay, is Tank Dell really going to be that much better than Jalen Waddle will be rest of season if things pan out for Tank Dell in this expanded role? So calculated risk, but I think Jalen Waddle's a better player. And so I think I went there with that. But
interesting.
We will see how that goes. Next guy here, Nick Chubb. Great to see him back. However, not great to see the lack of involvement. 16 carry, he had 18 opportunities, so that was good to see. And it was the Ravens' run defense. So
sure.
And by the way, if you forgot, ACL. So sorry, but I mean, that happened too.
His knee went like this.
His knee went that way, and it wasn't good.
It's supposed to go the other way.
It was good to see him get back to the RB1 kind of snap share and workload.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I hope he scores touchdowns if you end up putting him in your lineup. I have been in a league, and I'm considering dropping if there's better options out there. I don't know if there will be. But
does that mean that's for real for you? If you're considering dropping him, I mean that feels like that you're
probably.
You're kind of
I think he's a touchdown dependent flex play. I think we all knew he was never going to get back to this 25 carries a game, going for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't see that as a reality. However, famous Jameis is up in that bitch, just to get that offense running. So I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen with this next guy? It's Amari Cooper. Hey, that was stupid. What was that? That sucked.
Yeah, that was I could have done
dumb.
that.
Yeah, what? 1 catch for 3 yards? I could have done better than that. What? I mean,
there's a chance.
So the numbers behind the scenes are he actually doubled the amount of routes that he ran from his first week to his second week. So I think there could be a ramp up period here. I also think that Brandon Beane cares about his players, and he doesn't want to be necessarily disrespectful to Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir, who have been putting in work for the offense this offseason and throughout the year. But I think it's just a slow ramp up. And if we forgot what we already mentioned, James Cook, RB1 of the week, they were up. James Cook they kind of got back more to their roots of they are still a run heavy team. So I don't think it's going to be 1.3, but I don't know if it'll be the unlocked potential that we wanted, especially if the ramp up period takes longer than we thought. I don't know. Live start sit question, Wes. I mean, I've got this choice to make. Amari Cooper. Oh, well, actually, no. I think I'd already made it because it was Amari Cooper versus Miami or Calvin Ridley against whoever they were playing. And because it's the Dolphins, I know that all my fantasy players will go apeshit against them because that's how that goes for me always. So I'm going to go Amari Cooper against Miami. Yeah. But anyway,
the bubble destroys Miami. So there's that.
So anyways, there you go. I'm not.
I say for real. This Cooper stat.
Do you think so?
This is for real. I think this is Keon Coleman. I think he's emerging. Khalil Shakir had a great game as well.
Yeah, Shakir had an awesome game.
James Cook is dominating. Cooper, I think, is just happy to be winning. So
probably.
Yeah,
I hope they unlock him a little bit more. I hope they get him a chance. You got to think they wouldn't have traded for him if it wasn't going to, at some point, let him go up a little more.
Could be for veteran.
I like the increased routes run, but yeah, we got to see more. I'm not like, obviously because he's playing the Dolphins, I'm going to start him. But anyways, and then DeAndre Hopkins in his first game with the Kansas City Chiefs, 4.9 fantasy points, only 3 targets, 2 catches for 29 yards. If this is a sign of things to come, there will be plenty of targets to go around from what it sounds like if we're going to try and be passing a little bit more. Similar situation here. It's like, okay, you traded for the guy, so he's going to have some sort of role. And we saw Juju be like an 8 for 80 guy with a touchdown, and it was like, okay, like maybe Mahomes is going to support a wide receiver after Rashee Rice. DeAndre Hopkins at this age is still, I think, better than current age Juju, but I don't know. I'm not like rushing to put him in my lineup. I just think we got to feel things out. I don't know. What do you think?
Sorry, the SWAT team's outside, and there's a helicopter just circling. So I have to keep going back and forth and muting the mic.
Let us in.
You have to get SWAT a live recording. Ah! Even though this is post-production, we still leave it in.
Get on the ground. I would leave it in. Absolutely.
Shut the dog up. So DeAndre Hopkins, I think, will have a role.
We got him. Yeah.
But I think Hopkins is probably going to be touchdown dependent, and same way I think Xavier Worthy is. It doesn't feel like. So yeah, I say for real. I mean, if there's any indication of Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper, yeah, this is for real. So we're going to talk about them in just one moment.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, literally right now. Anyway, listen, that's it. Fluke for real. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Let's jump into a Thursday Night Football preview, Wes, before we go. Must starts, risky starts, and don't starts. Texans up at MetLife against the Jets. You go first, because I do. You go first. I'll say my words.
All right. So Texans, Jets, we got some pretty Jets. Hey, okay. So you want to hear a stat? You want to hear something about the Jets team? You're gonna love this, okay? Because here's a fact about the New York Jets team. All right, because I like doing all this random statistics and historical data. All right, so since Aaron Rodgers has been on the Jets, okay, this is the fact. Since Aaron Rodgers has been on the Jets, they have been delusional. Did you know that? They've been delusional. I was
aware, yeah.
Yeah. They've been completely delusional. It's amazing. They're all terrible. So there's only one player, because I'm not going to go with any Texans, because everyone's like, yeah, I know who the Texans are to roll out.
Okay.
There's the one guy I think you can continue to roll out from the Jets, aside from the obvious running backs. I'm going to say my must start is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, no one's questioning whether to start Breece Hall. Keep rolling out Garrett Wilson. He's proven that he is still a consistent PPR wide receiver, and that he is a reliable wide receiver in fantasy as well. And Aaron Rodgers still targets him. So until we're all proven otherwise that Devontae Adams is the alpha, Garrett Wilson is still the best wide receiver in fantasy for this New York Jets team. So let's roll him out. He's still a must start, I believe, especially with the draft capital you spend to get him. You have to keep rolling him out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have the 23 target game against Minnesota in London, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And then the next week, you followed up with another good game. He's a wide receiver 2 that week. He had 25 fantasy points. And then they traded for Adams, and it was like, what's this going to do? Yeah. And he's been a top 24 wide receiver both weeks. 13 points 2 weeks ago, 16.3 this past week, 9 targets, 8 targets, 5 catches. He's doing that without scoring a touchdown. Like, he's got good matchups going forward. Plays the Cardinals in 2 weeks. Plays the Colts the week after that. Like, looks good. Oh my gosh, plays Jacksonville the first week of the fantasy playoffs. God, trade for him now, I guess. But yeah, he's been awesome. Like he's been great. I said this when it happened, when they traded for Adams. I've never rooted harder for something to not work. And it's hilarious that it's not working. They're building the 2018 Golden State Warriors over in East Rutherford, and they are eating bricks. Like, it is terrible. Anyways, my must start is, truthfully, because I went, okay, who do we get Thursday night? And I saw this game, and I legitimately was like, oh, this game is gonna suck. I was like, oh, I'm not excited about literally anyone in this game, like anybody. Right. So my must start, and I'm sorry, like I just did it. Like I just want to take a moment to talk about it because he's been awesome. Is Joe Mixon? He's been awesome in fantasy football, better than he ever had been in Cincinnati. He has been, when he's healthy, the RB2, the RB4, and the RB6. Is what I mean. He is the engine of the offense. He's consistently getting like nearly 30 opportunities a game, if not more. I'm sure he's averaging more than 30 opportunities a game. I haven't done the math on that at the moment, but he's great. And my only note on it was, truthfully, the only player I would absolutely start besides Garrett Wilson. That was it. Like that was the only, that was it. So my must start is Joe Mixon. So there you go.
Yeah.
Let's keep talking about this game.
So this is what we do here. We do this on 4th and Troll. We have a Thursday night preview, and now it's the Texans and the Jets. Okay. Risky starts. Who are you wondering whether you should start or not? That may or may not pay off. All right. There's only one name. And it's very obvious. And let's just take the layup here. It's Tank Dell. Okay. He's been pretty bad. Up and down. He's been up and down games. You would think he would have just a sweet game, just as the one wide receiver. But you never know. Maybe Dalton Schultz, maybe Joe Mixon with 35 carries. You may have Ogunbunkwakwo as the other.
I hate talking about this game.
Oh my god! Texans running back. Cam Akers might, So there's still just a risk because the Jets' pass defense hasn't allowed a lot of points to wide receivers. That's the only risk that I think people are like, I got to roll them out, right? Yeah. Give it a shot. See what happens. But don't put him in your flex. Put him as wide receiver so that we have some better flex options later on. Anyway, your turn.
I'm really serious when I say this, and it's kind of scary to say, and don't flame me for it, but I think a risky start in this game actually is Breece Hall. I think the offense is just a mess. And he had two really good bounce back weeks, and I know the 2 weeks before that were against good defenses, but he has less than 10 fantasy points in 3 of his last 5 games. And you drafted him in the first round of fantasy drafts. And like, here's my thing: is you likely don't have a choice, but I just want to tell you that I don't think it's like a given home run play. And if you're sitting there Thursday night in the shower with your shower beer because Breece Hall started out your fantasy football week with 7.5 fantasy points, come back to this and say, hey, you were right. What the hell do I do? And I'll go, I have no idea. I have no clue actually what to do. The Jets are terrible to watch, and it's so disappointing. And bring back, like, I'm at the point where I'm almost like, it can't be any worse with Tyrod, right? Like I know they won't, but like at this point, I'm like, how
you gotta just
do they lose to the Patriots if Tyrod is playing? Who has it's just a guy with a little more mobility? Like, I don't even know, dude. It's just it's annoying. Anyway, there you go. There's a risky start for the game.
Yeah. Well, what someone will do is if they do start Breece Hall and they listen to this episode and they're having the shower beer, like, oh my gosh, Noah warned me, and they come back and say, what do I do? You listen to our Studs and Duds episode on Friday, and we'll help you out to coach you for maybe who to play for running backs.
In appreciation, you can hand us a blank check if you want.
Hand us there you go. All right. We also talk about
give us your money.
Patreon.com.
Anyway,
Fantasy. Here are my don't starts. Are you ready?
Yep.
like everyone on the Jets.
I wondered if that's where you're going to go. Yeah.
Like everyone else. I mean, like like you talk about with Breece Hall, like obviously you're going to still start him because you draft him in the first round and you don't have a choice. And you saw that he did have some success 2 weeks ago, but I mean, like Adams is certainly not startable. And Alan Lazard is not someone we can rely on anymore. And Aaron Rodgers, I have no idea. I have no idea how he's this bad. I have no way to understand. You don't lose football IQ when you get older, right? You may lose mobility, but like
you do when you're snorting ayahuasca.
Bad. Honestly. You know what I think? I think he was better when he was engaged to Shailene Woodley. So maybe we need to get her back. See if maybe she was the life. Yeah, there could be a reason that this is not happening. Maybe he needs Shailene back. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss, but But also, I mean, like, I kind of say everyone else, but like, I kind of mean like everyone else. Like, I don't know if you like, should you start CJ Stroud? He hasn't been any good at all either.
He's my don't start.
There you go. How about that?
There you go. Don't start CJ Stroud this week. He hasn't been a top 12 quarterback in 5 weeks. He's playing the Jets. They have good defense. He has no Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs, and the offense runs through Joe Mixon. I guarantee you the offensive game plan from the coaching staff, from Bobby Slowick, is how many times can we hand the ball to Joe Mixon this game and still be competitive and potentially win? You can't tell me if I know you just joked about it, but like you can't tell me if it gives Joe Mixon 35 carries that they don't win this game. It's just how it's going to go. And here's the thing. I was just a little distracted because I was like looking at it and I was going, okay, the run defense has been scoreable on. The past 3 running backs they've faced all have carried the football 20 plus times against them. And there was Ray Davis 3 weeks ago.
That's interesting.
Like Ray Davis had 20 carries.
Yeah, he did.
2 weeks ago, Najee carried the rock a lot and was successful. And then this past week, Ramondre Stevenson, who wasn't efficient, but had over 20 carries in this game too. Like running backs are going to get volume against the Jets. That's kind of how it's going to go. Because I mean, look at it. You can't pass against them. They have good pass defense, but like Joe Mixon is going to Joe Mixon. He should. I literally was about to go. He should have been a must start, and he was my must start. I hate this game. I hate this football game, dude. This
is gonna be hilarious.
I think I'm gonna go lay face down in my backyard and instead of watch this game. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
I can't look away from a car crash. I've got to watch. I've got to see, and a little teaser for the people who have subscribed because of that Josh Allen documentary. When's the next documentary coming out? It's about Aaron Rodgers.
I like the if you're here in this episode and you're from the doc, it's gonna be a fun one.
It's about Rodgers.
This is gonna be a fun one.
I'm having a blast with it.
Gosh, that's it. Best of luck watching this game. We are hopeful that we get some great record-breaking performance from Joe Mixon, and Garrett Wilson scores well for you. Let us know if you're buying low or selling high on anyone. Trade deadline for fantasy football is coming up in just a few weeks, so be thinking about that. Make Teddy the Troll smile by liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell. And we will see you next time. My name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And this has been 4th and Troll Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Fourth and Troll Fantasy is a production of FQ Media and Selby Artistic Workshop.